Hello, it is historic day today. It is June 13th, Friday 13th. Some people say unlucky. Well, this all depends on how you look at things. Yesterday was Thursday 12th of June 2008, when the Irish did very interesting thing. I'm reading from telegraph.co.uk article Ireland rejects EU treaty in referendum. Just bring it up. This is my June rant. I'm a little bit late with the rant because it's already halfway through June, but better late than never. And now I get a brilliant historic thing to comment on. Now, Irish voters have left Brussels' plans for EU integration in tatters by rejecting the Lisbon Treaty, writes the correspondent Tom Peterkin, a little bit like Battleship Potemkin, but not quite, in Dublin. So they rejected the Lisbon Treaty. The EU treaty has been rejected by voters in Ireland. Even before all the official Ireland referendum results were in, the Irish government conceded that the public had voted against the treaty. Dermot Ahern, the country's Minister Justice, predicted it looks like this will be a no vote. Mr. Ahern added, at the end of the day, for a myriad of reasons, the people have spoken. The news is bad for the country's leader. Being Russian, I can't read the word Tisach, so I'll say Taoisiach. Brian Cohen, Cohen as in Cohen, not like Leonard Cohen, who will have some tough explaining to do when he faces EU leaders at the European Council summit later next week in Brussels. Ah dear, looks like they're going to pull up the Irish onto the table and say, why did you do this? Why did you say no? You know, they don't like referendums. When Poland wanted to have a referendum about death penalty, because most Polish people probably would like to have it back, when Lech Kaczynski said we're going to have it, then Martin Schulz said, oh no, you Poles are not allowed to do it, and made a great big brouhaha and started to threaten with taking away the money, what has been given for Poles by the taxpayers throughout Europe, because they didn't want them to have a referendum. Well, what I think is probably should be a referendum for death penalty throughout Europe, but Europe seems to have nothing to do with democracy and everything about bureaucracy, people in central in power, immense power like nobody had before, power over 450 million people. Even the United States president didn't have that kind of power. Over this amount of economic power, nobody had, because remember, even although it's not a single country, the economy of Europe, European Union is more powerful taken together than of United States. Sorry, I don't mean to upset you if you're from America. I like American people, but it's the facts. And same with China, we're bigger than China, yes? So if you look at the European Union, the people in charge of the European Union have immense power. And they don't want democracy. They don't want people to be able to have referendums. Most places were not allowed to have referendum. Thank goodness Irish people did have. Unfortunately, the chickens in charge of the United Kingdom didn't want to give this referendum, so first the Irish showed the way. Very good for them. And the Irish had the guts to say what they wanted, even though it's obvious now that the European Union, the powers that be, they will try to upset the apple cart, the great successes, which is Ireland. Let's face it, Ireland has been the big success story of Europe. In the olden days, the English used to think, oh well, the Irish, they are our poor relation across the Irish Sea. Over there, they got a kind of pund which is like our pound but is cheaper. Later it became more expensive. Then they went into euro. Didn't have big problems with inflation, but had massive boost of the economy. And now they are a powerhouse, a tiger economy in Europe. Major investor into Eastern Europe real estate. fantastic business people, many of them my clients, great business people, great economists, and really successful people, and also able to welcome in proportionally to their base population, great number of people from Poland and other places, all of whom have also contributed, been made really welcome there, and have contributed to success of Irish economic boom. Anyway, if ever there was a nation in Europe that would say yes to the Lisbon Treaty, it would be Ireland. So if Irish say no, nobody else will dare to have referendum. So now it is either go back to drawing board and redraft what the European Union is all about, or simply force forward the way of no democracy in European Union. And I think that there will be plenty of people who have the vested interest in rough riding shortly over whole of democracy in Europe, don't think that there is really democracy in this area. There is the trappings of something which look a bit like democracy, but what you're being fed the whole time, paid for out of your own taxes, is they're telling you what to think. They're telling you what your opinion about things should be. And not always in your interests. Sometimes, yes, it's in your interests. Sometimes, not always. So, the Irish, they stood up for freedom. And I'm very proud that somewhere inside of me there is like 1/32 part Irish blood today. In fact, I'm going to have the rest of my rant done today by a guest of mine in the studio, and I'm going to just hand over now to Mr. Patrick O Donahue.
Hello there, top of the morning to you. You can see I got a new pair of shades here. Anyway, thank you for that, Victor. As you know, today was a historic day for Ireland and a historic day for democracy in the whole of this area of the world. What I'm worried about now, though, although we've spoken as a nation with one voice and said we don't want the ruddy Lisbon Treaty, that they'll simply redraft it somehow and feed it to us again, and they'll give us another referendum to do in 6 months' time with these covert threats that they'll ruin our country if we don't vote yes. And then we'll be given propaganda in the television, on the radio and in the newspapers that we must vote yes next time, until finally we cave in and vote yes. If we vote no the time after that, it'll be done again and again and again. New referendums every 6 months or every year, until the one time when we do vote yes, then we'll never be asked again. It won't be that they ask for a no vote, us to vote many times over the referendum and every time we vote no, and then the one time we vote yes, they say, well, they voted yes that time, but they voted no 2 times or 3 times before, so let's go back and see if they really meant yes. They'll ask us to vote until we say yes, and then they'll never ask us again until our Lord comes in the clouds. That's how it'll be, you can be sure of that. So, thankfully, we're in the Irish nation, although we like the colour green, we're not as green as we're cabbage looking. And so we showed them that we're not as stupid as some of the jokes you see in the United Kingdom about us might make you think. In fact, we showed that we stood up for liberty, that we stood up for what people all over Europe would like to stand up for. We spoke as one nation, but we spoke for all the nations, people in every nation in Europe who don't like the Lisbon Treaty. We spoke for everybody in Europe today. And thank you very much, my fellow Irish, for being able to make me proud today. Thank you and goodbye.
There was a stand of oak trees beside my father's house. The wind blew through the leaves, I can hear it now. The smell of hay just stacked in the backfield, glowing gold in the summer heat, in the softness of the rain. I can hear us laugh again. Wake my heart, play the bucks of war and more. Shake my mind, put the devil in the bow once more. Fray the hair, bend the note, lift the dancer's feet, I'm going.